Okay, we are live. Thank you for hooking up. It's a nice time in this morning to hook up with you, to come in your space. My name is Niyi Dunmade. I'm the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting Limited. I'm the certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting. We've been having some technical hitches, but thank God that we are able to scale through and then come up with coming live on to your space. So please let me just do some little brief of what we're going to do today. This program is sponsored by Magnicraft Consulting Limited, and Magnicraft Consulting Limited is a firm that helps churches to stay healthy, grow healthy, and to also maintain their health. We also host Monday Morning Matters. Monday Morning Matters is every Monday by 8 a.m. We discuss some very good tips that will help our churches. And this is the framework at which we look at our churches, because for someone to be healthy, there must be some systems that are healthy in our churches. Okay? So away from what we have today and to what we want to discuss. Right now, we are in the pandemic. Make sure you get your nose mask, all right? Your face shield. Make sure you have your face shield, and make sure you have some sanitizers on your pockets, portable ones, that can help you to protect yourself from any contingencies. And to be candid, the blood of Jesus will protect each and every one of us. As we go out with our daily businesses, the virus will not be our portion. And we also reach out to those who have been infected, that God will heal them. God will reach out to them with his healing power and make sure that they don't die from this virus infection. All right. So what do we have today? I've been having technical issues with internet, but thank God that at least we're here. Those who are not online with me will be able to catch up some of the discussions in the rebroadcast or later on in the day. And today we want to talk on the new normal of doing church. I'm going to talk on 10 things quickly. I don't want to waste time. 10 things that the church should shift from and shift into. Okay? The new normal of doing church. The new normal of doing church. Okay? The new normal of doing church. And to be candid, if we do not want to shift away to what is the new normal, then we are fighting change. One of the things that any animal or living organism for which a church is fighting change will be that you are swimming against the tides. And when you are swimming against the tide, you're going to be gasping for your life. So when you fight change, you are the verge of going extinct. So let us make sure that whatever we are changing to is something that can actually help us. So the new normal of doing church. One of the bedrock of what I'll be talking on is such that the church has moved from a physical presence trying to go online. The reverse, the switch, the church shift, that's a major one, is that the church is having an online presence and trying to maintain a physical address, a physical presence in the community. So today we're talking about the new normal of doing church. The new normal of doing church. Growth is about change. If you want to grow, there's some things you need to change. There's some things you should stop doing. There's some things you should start doing. There's some things that you should continue to do. Because when you continue to do them, that's when you begin to sustain your health. So 3 things: you must continue to do what is right, you must start doing what is right, and you must stop doing what is not right. Okay? So what are the things that we need to move in from and begin to plan our churches, our leaders, into the new normal? I'm going to go straight on into the 10 things that the church must shift from and shift into. These are the 10 church shifts. Okay? What's the first one? The first one is we are shifting from caretaker leader to leadership to change agents. This is as the church is reopening, we must make sure that our churches must be apt and prompt with changing the narratives. Okay? How do we make sure that the church is safe? Okay, those days when I gave my life to Christ, anybody who is in danger runs to the church because he knows that there is love, there's genuine love in the church. So we must move from caretaker leadership to change agent, trying to take care of people, but to now focus more on creating change, creating the new normal, charting the course that the church should get to a place that you can effect change that is necessary for the church to flourish and live out the life that is good. So caretaker leader to what? Change agent. The leaders in the church must move away from trying to take care. Not that caretaking is not good, but right now we need to begin to chart a new course for changing the narratives in our churches. So caretaker leaders to what? Change agent. Now I must say this, a warning here. Never settle for a small church looking like a shadow of a mega church. You know, there are a lot of churches that they're actually small, but because of the technology, because of internet, they really portray themselves as a mega church. And the reverse also, we should never settle for a large church trying to look small, because you're going to create a lot of rancor and not allow the needed change to occur. So caretaker leader, we must move and shift towards change agent. There are a lot of things to change in your church. There are a lot of things to look at and find with how are the children going to cope with nose marks in our nose singing. How are you going to help the mental state of our children, our aged in church? So we must, as leaders, make the needed decision to move our church forward. Don't neglect your change agent skills right now that the church is trying to reopen back. I know you care about the sheep. I know you love the church, you love the people, but you must move from trying to be the best known caretaker leader to a change agent right now. Later on in the evening, I'm going to talk on how leading change in a difficult times. Leading change in difficult times. So that will also, step by step, it will be like a 30 minutes broadcast, step by step, on how you can actually lead change and then do so in a difficult time that we are living. Now the second one is what? The second point is gathering people. The church must move from gathering people to small groups. Okay, we all converge into a place like a four walls of a building, gathering people together. We must also now shift that focus to small groups. It's better we have 200 groups of 12 people than to bring all the people in those groups together in one place. It allows for intimacy. And as the church grows larger, it's better you re-emphasize the need for small groups. You emphasize the need for small groups. Okay? We must move from gathering people, to small groups. I've seen some churches who are into multi-site, and they have locked down all their multi-site capabilities. All those multi-sites should be able to do their live streaming, because the truth about it is that the 2.3 billion on Facebook, for example, you alone cannot reach out to all of them. But when you create different platforms, there are some people that might want to navigate towards B that will not want to listen to A. So let us move from gathering people in one spot to 200,000 gathered church, 100,000 gathered church, to having a lot of small groups in our communities. Now, the more we have those small groups, the more you have light in all those areas that those small groups are planted. Number 3, the third one is what? We must move from traditional church to virtual church. What am I saying? Traditional church is the way we meet together in Hebrews 10 verse 25. We should not neglect the assemblies of our brethren together, but we should encourage ourselves the more as we see the day approaching. What is the definition of a church? The definition of a church is a local church is an indispensable gathering of professing believers in Christ who, under leadership are organized to pursue its mission through its function to accomplish its purpose. That's the definition of a local church. So we can have church traditional, we can have church virtual, but we need to now concentrate, because the virtual church can reach more people than the four walls of your traditional church can contain. So our thinking, our strategy, our planning must be towards virtual church, because the virtual church can take a lot of people that the traditional church cannot take. So that's a major shift. We're going to have the third one, from a traditional church solely toward a virtual church. Now, when I say there's a shift, does not mean that the traditional church is not needed, or we should not do the traditional church or caretaking, but these are skills, these are shifting to functions that we need right now because of the pandemic effect. Number 4, we are saying that we must move from analog presence to a digital presence. Analog presence to a digital presence. Analog presence is limited. Analog presence is physical. Analog presence is you can't make a lot of impact in terms of numbers of people you can reach. For digital presence, you can stream from one platform to different platforms and then impact people in millions. So we must move from analog presence to digital presence. Now, what I'm saying is this. Okay, I know some churches who still print flyers, who still print newsletters, but to be candid, I did a survey and I found out that a lot of people, a lot of our churches do not have websites. Okay, digital presence, you need a website. You need a space in the internet to show the world who you are, what you do, and why you exist. So newsletters should be electronic, offerings should be able to be done electronically, prints, podcasts, website, apps, social medias, and all these emails and texts can be digitalized. So we need to even your follow-up can be digitalized. Your discipleship can be digitalized. Your assimilation can be digitalized. So let us move from analog presence to digital presence. Okay, number 5. I will wrap up very fast. Number 5, from local mindset, we must move from local mindset, from the Jerusalem kind of mindset, to a global mindset. Because the truth about it is that the church is not meant to be locally minded. The church is meant to affect the Jerusalem, affect the Judea, affect the Samaria, and the almost part of the earth. That's how you make culture infiltration, a culture shift, if you ask me. So let's move from local mindedness to global mindedness. So whatever you do on your live streaming, whatever you do in your church, be mindful that whatever language you speak can be translated into a language of another culture. And I hope what you're saying might not be affecting a race, affecting a culture, or affecting a tribe. So we must move from local mindedness or local mindset to global mindset. All right, that's number 5. And number 6 is we must move from trying to get to preach out to a congregation to a camera lens. What I'm saying is this. We know all the time past before the pandemic, we had gatherings in the four walls of our church. And our pastors get energy from preaching to congregation. Right now, there's the lockdown has made our churches not to have the congregational meetings that we usually have. And we must shift from talking through the camera. As I'm telling you, there's a camera in front of me, and you must get used to speaking to the camera, speaking to the lens, and making sure that as you speak to the lens, you are speaking to millions, you are speaking to thousands, you are speaking to the world, you are speaking to multitudes. So your energy must now move from what you generate from the congregation, from the lens, the camera that is focused on you as you're doing your live streaming. Now, when the church even moves, you must not also reduce your focus on the congregation, because the power of the camera lens is still massive, because the live streaming can still reach out to a lot of people more than your four walls of your church, physical church. So we must move from focusing on speaking to the congregation physically to getting used to what? The camera lens. The camera lens. So what is the 7th one? we must move from inward focusedness to outward focus. The church is not designed to be inward focused. The moment a church starts to think of himself by doing things of inward focused activity, that's the time the church starts to decline. That's the time the church starts to die. What am I saying? The church is meant to light up the community. The church is meant to be outward focused. And the truth is this: the danger is that every church has what it takes to be inward focused. So comforts naturally we want to make churches to go inward, look inward, inward focusedness to outward. So the more you look outward, the more your church will grow. The more you look outward, the more the life that the church has will grow. So what am I saying? The church must move from inward focusedness to outward focusedness. Must move from inward focus, thinking about yourself. Am I my brother's keeper? What concerns me about? You must be concerned about what is going on in America. Even if you are in Somalia, you must be concerned with what's going on in South Africa, even when you are in Mauritania. Okay, so inward focusedness to outward focusedness. All right. The eighth one, I'll be running up so quickly, is from silo or division to collaboration. Now, the internet is a one-space region, and we must move away from your section, your segment, your division, your siloness to collaboration. Now, in a community like Lagos, for example, all the churches can come together, collaborate, because when you collaborate together, the impact you can have in your community, in your state, can be massive than when you individually try to reach out to people in the community. So the church must move from division, okay, from solo movement to collaboration, joining resources together, joining their brains together, joining their workforce together to make sure that they impact their state and community for Christ. Okay? The church must move from division to collaboration. There must be more unity. There must be more togetherness, because there is power in our togetherness. There's power. There's a lot more we can do for God when we are together. That's why Jesus Christ was praying. He said that they might be one as we are one. He was praying that we should be one, because when we are together, when we are one, then we can impact our world for God. Then number 9 is we must move from isolation to unity. The body of Christ cannot move if they are disintegrated or they are in isolation. If the hand is somewhere and the leg is somewhere, we cannot just achieve anything at all. So unity is a top priority right now in the pandemic. We need one another. We need one another. We need to stay with one another so that we can impact our world together. And lastly, we must move from complex church to a simple church. The reason why the church was instituted in the first place is to make matured disciples, to reach out to the community and make matured disciples. So now, as a church is growing, we try to tend towards complexity. But right now, what the pandemic has caused is that it has caused the church to think, what are the essentials? What are the non-essentials? What are the fundamentals? What are the non-fundamentals? What are the major and what are the minor? Okay? During a pandemic, during a crisis, it will tell you what is very important. For example, if his house is burning and you have just 2 minutes to take what is most important in your house, that's when you know what is really important. So right now, the church must move from complexity to simplicity. And God likes them simple. In fact, God likes to move in things that are very simple and mundane, things that are not so complex. Okay? So the church must deliberately move from complexity, complex church, to a simple church. As we are reopening, we can set up a simple structure, functional one, that can take into cognizance the disruptions that has happened as a result of the pandemic and the reopening of our churches. Okay, so that's it. I've gone through all the 10 so far, and I want to wrap it up here. That's a new normal of doing church. The new normal of doing church, we must be willing to shift. We must be willing to move. We must be willing to take a giant leap Because the truth about it is that change is the only constant thing. And if you refuse to change in terms of attitude, in terms of expectation, in terms of operationality of how you run your church, with the mind that it must be done in a way that God wants, God approves, then you can go to be sure that you will get God's approval. As the government has opened the church, ask God, is it a time for me to open? Is it time for me to rush back to the 4 walls of the church? Some of you might open this Sunday. Some of you might open next in 3 weeks. Some of you might open in October. So don't rush because everybody is trying to open it up. Be prayerful. Ask God for leading and plan very well so that you can get the best re-entry, relaunch, and the rebound. I've done quite a lot of videos on my page. Go on my page, you will see quite a lot of videos on this digital discipleship, on having a digital assimilation plan, on reopening church relaunch checklist. And if you want me to help you, please reach out to me. I'll be able to help you in trying to see that your church does not die, your church does not decline, and that your church does not get to a point that is distressed. Because right now, pandemic is actually making a lot of our churches to die, a lot of our churches to be in decline, and a lot of our churches to be in distress. And we need to avoid the bigger churches who are having good resources should also help the younger one. This is not the time for us to say, am I my brother's keeper? We should also be careful to reach out to those who are weak, to reach out to the churches who are not strong. Share equipment with them. The church might have 20 cameras. You can't use all of them. Share your equipment with them. You are a guitarist who has sound card or live streaming equipment. Reach out to a church. I know a lot of churches who have not had live services online for the past 10, 12 weeks. So we need to help some of these churches. We need to help some, because the more churches we have, the more healthier churches we have, the better our community will be. All right, so that is a new normal of doing church, and I spoke quickly on 10 church shifts that we need to do in this pandemic era. In the evening, I'll be doing something on leading change in difficult times. That will be another 30 minutes broadcast. So get out your pen and paper to get ready to glean from some of the wisdom I'll be sharing. This program is sponsored by Magnicraft Consulting Limited. I'm the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting, and then it's sponsored by Magnicraft Consulting Limited. And Monday we'll be having Monday Morning Matters, and that's to discuss the church health framework, because we believe that when the church is healthy, the church can be at its peak. We can help you assess your church in where it is right now and see how we can get your church to bounce back from life support for preservation, from decline to sustained health. I must stop here. I know I was so fast. You can replace some of these things and then get the juice out of this broadcast. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for giving me your time. Thank you for allowing me to come into your space. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll be able to answer your questions from any of the channels. Please, that's my contact, and that's my Facebook page. Go on my Facebook page, like some of these posts. I can see that some of you have liked this post. Keep sharing to a pastor, tweet, follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then I'm sure a church worker will be so glad that you did. Thank you so much for giving me your time, your ears so far. I'm so glad that I was able to give this to you within 30 minutes. Thank you. My name is always Niyi Dunmade. I'm the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting Limited, and of course, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting. I want to wrap it up here. Thank you for listening with me. Bye. Thank you.